In this video, I'll show you how to repair a chip in a white polyester finished piano using a new technique that cuts your curing time from 1 hour to just 1 minute. Before we dive in, here's everything you'll need to get started. First, you'll need your polyester resin. I recommend Ilva Gloss Polyester TR1688. You'll also need UV additive powder catalyst, a UV light, a razor blade, various grits of sandpaper, 444 colorants, especially white, clear plastic sheets, a bottle for the resin, blanket or towel, paper towels, gloves, painter's tape, a scale, small measuring spoons, a polisher, and various polishing compounds. Links to everything I use are in the description. Step 1. Mix the polyester resin with the UV additive powder. Begin by mixing 1 ounce of polyester resin with about 1/4 teaspoon of UV additive powder. Mix it thoroughly. Step 2. Cure a drop of the mixture. Test the curing process by placing a drop under a UV light for about 1 minute to make sure it hardens properly. That's the sound you want to hear. Then transfer the mixture into a bottle. Step 3. Fill the chip. Lay down a blanket to protect your floor. You can use a little rotary tool like this to grind it down. Tape off the surrounding area with painter's tape to protect it. Apply the polyester resin to the dent and apply some to your plastic strip. Place the strip to the piano and hold it in place. Cure the resin using the UV light. Use multiple layers if necessary to completely fill it in. Step 4. Sand it down. Use a razor blade to remove excess polyester and then use sandpaper to achieve a smooth surface. Step 5. Match the color. Combine half an ounce of polyester with 3/16 of a teaspoon of UV additive powder catalyst. The extra catalyst is because we are doing an opaque finish rather than clear. Add 3 grams of white pigment. Then adjust it from there with small amounts of other pigments until it matches your piano. You can test your color matches by curing a drop on a piece of plastic and holding it up to the piano. Because of how fast this UV curing is, it makes it easy for me to see if the color matches the piano, and I can quickly create a new batch in just a couple of minutes if needed, rather than waiting an hour to find out whether I got it right or not. Step 6. Paint on your color. Using a foam brush, apply the colored mixture to the repaired area. Ensure even coverage for a seamless finish. After applying a coat, use the UV light to harden it. I sanded between a couple of coats to make it more flat. Continue and apply as many coats as needed to completely cover the repair. Step 7. Polish. Allow the repair to cure completely, then sand it level, first with 1000 grit, then 1500, and then 2000. Next, polish the surface using your buffing machine and your compounds to make it be a nice high gloss. And there you have it. A piano chip repair using UV polyester resin. UV curing resin has some advantages and some disadvantages over the traditional curing methods. Some of the advantages are, first, UV curing resin cures much faster. UV curing resin takes up to, at most, a few minutes to cure, but if you use the traditional catalyst, the resin will take up to a few hours to cure. Second, UV curing resin can be used at a wide variety of temperatures. You can heat it up in the microwave for a few seconds if you want it to be very runny, or you can cool it in the refrigerator or freezer to make it a thicker consistency. With the traditional methods, you should not heat the resin above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and it may not cure at temperatures below 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Third, UV curing resin wastes much less. With the traditional methods, there is always some resin left over in the cup that gets wasted. With UV curing, you can save the extra resin for future use, which leads into the next advantage. The fourth advantage, UV curing resin can be pre-mixed. This cuts out the time of mixing up the resin for each individual repair. This also helps because you will then have resin mixtures that have been mixed to a color that you know will match well. This is especially helpful when doing multiple repairs on the same piano. With the traditional methods, each batch may vary slightly in shade. Finally, it is less toxic. Instead of letting off fumes for a whole hour, the fumes will be gone within a minute. This really helps to keep the smell down a lot. The main disadvantage of UV curing resin is that unless you use a clear mixture, it cannot do fills above 1/16 of an inch thick. This isn't a huge problem though, because you can just do multiple layers, one right after the other. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more fantastic piano repair tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Martin Piano Tech.